Welcome to the Cloud Council. My name is Mark Chillingworth. Today we're discussing building a flexible technology estate. Joining me is Dominic Howson, Head of IT and Supply Chain for the Bakers, Hovis. What advice do you have, we mentioned at the beginning of the show, for putting SAP's ERP into the cloud? Somebody's about to embark on that journey, so where should they start?
I think I talked about managing, making sure you've got enough to run, but a flexible platform that you can then grow if you have come into challenges, and don't fall into the trap of having to. There's a very different to what we're talking about here. If you're moving your existing on-premise ERP platform that's on your own infrastructure and architecture to a private cloud provider, then start with what you've already got in terms of your base running. And then you can grow your consumption once you've come to your agreement with your services provider about what kind of scale you can add to those systems. There is lots of other. I'd be more and more. I am looking as well as developing our ERP strategy about in the fullness of time whether we move our ERP platform to a public cloud, because we've got very used to the flexibility in the private world, and actually could we get further benefit by moving to the public cloud? My lessons would be: start with what you've got, grow your systems and grow your capacities in line with what you need, and don't overspec it. And don't make too many changes would be my key thing. So don't take too many unnecessary risks when you don't need to.
Which is I presume, a way of saying keep it vanilla as well as much as possible.
Oh yeah, we have done very little SAP development in 6 years.
Another question coming in is, what mix of public, private and hybrid cloud do you have within Hovis?
So we have our enterprise ERP platform, SAP, on a private IIX cloud, and the majority of our Windows workload in terms of our virtual desktops are in a Wintel private cloud with another vendor. We have a lot of our cloud. We're a G Suite business. If you cut me in half, I still say Google under the covers. That won't change because we were a Google business before the carve out. So we have foots in all of the major private public cloud providers. We've got a lot going on in Azure, from application development as well as. So, for example, we've developed our own sales order system in Azure. We've developed lots of tactical apps around the edges. We've invested heavily in Azure data warehousing, as well as all of our key business data in Google BigQuery. So we have a lot in G Cloud. We have also some workspace stuff in AWS, along with some archives. So I've not really committed to any of it. But any applications that we bought that we haven't developed ourselves, we've been buying as a service. So whether it's cloud HR or whether it's trade promotions, or we've always gone for a cloud vendor. And so actually, in terms of where we've been in the last 12 weeks, the actual amount of people that need to connect back to our private cloud vendors for SAP is far reduced to what it used to be. So a lot of the services that people use on a day-to-day basis, obviously software as a service and public cloud front facing. So the reliance on our internal infrastructure has not been as good, as important as it might well have been a few years ago.
Yeah, and you mentioned those self-developed applications there. Is that part of the business flexibility that being very cloud orientated has given you, that you can actually say, what's on the shelf isn't good enough, we can develop our own and it'll be better for this business?
Yeah, I think it's about one thing that I'm not talking particularly about cloud, but actually about organizational. You've got the organizational capabilities to develop technology and applications and finding the platforms that suit their skills. So, for example, I have a couple of developers that are very, very good, and they won't mind me calling them SQL nerds, but they love their SQL, and actually being able to provide them with a platform to work on that natively in something like Azure means that their development time's far quicker, rather than me forcing them down a particular route using other technology. And yet, things like Microsoft's cloud gives you that ability to just start up application development. We've moved one of our applications today, and I clicked in there to look at how it looked, and we've got things around our breakdown process and obviously I mentioned our sales order processing. We've got apps around our service, so building out our service communication tools to our customers. We've got all sorts in there. We also develop apps in GCP as well. So it just when we need apps, but that is a good example of where we might want our Google development look slightly more attractive than maybe our in-house Azure development. So our Google apps are ones that are a bit more exec-facing, should we say? So like capex investment and marketing gate processes and things like that are in our Google apps. So yeah, it's just that those tool sets are available really quickly and easily available, and it allows our teams to play and develop their skills.
And the flexibility you've got, how did that help when the pandemic arrived on these shores? Presumably, I mean, your bakers had to keep working, you had to keep producing the goods that you're famous for, but you've got presumably part of the organization did go and work at home. How did that technology flexibility help?
Our bakery staff and our logistics teams have done a tremendous job. Obviously, in the last however many weeks, they've been in every day. They've met unbelievable demand that we've never seen before. Where I've heard other people mention it's like we've had Christmas demand every day for a long period of time. We usually have a nice build up to that demand, but we've been facing it every day, and our operations team have done an absolutely miraculous job. But office staff, where it didn't make sense for them to remain in the office, are working at home. So I'm in our head office today, but just for a couple of meetings. But everybody else that's in an office role is working at home. I think we've seen a 447% rise in our use of Google's Google Meet, which is very encouraging. With not spending any money on travel and expenses, I think that'd probably be something that we're pushing for the foreseeable future. And everything's held up, and we doubled our internet bandwidth, but we didn't actually use it in the end, and that's probably showing we turned it off less than a week after lockdown started. So people have been able to continue to operate. I spoke to a few of our team, different functions today. Treasury, our head of Treasury has been working happily with some of his cloud-based tools and operating effectively at home. We worked really well, and we did have a couple of trial days just because it was good practice, but everything's worked pretty swimmingly so far.
Dom, thank you very much. Really useful insights. Thank you for watching, and join us next time on the Cloud Council.